Today we're going to talk about January 2021 Real sales. Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're just going to dive right into it. We are going to talk about my January 2021 Real sales, which I'm super excited to share with you guys. I actually had a really great month on the Real. I had a lot of brands sell for me for higher dollar amounts that they normally have on the website. And yeah, I really just wanted to break that down with you guys. I'm not going to go through all of my sales, so I'm just going to throw that out there right now. But I am going to discuss the ones that I felt were the most important to share with all of you, and to kind of give a little explanation behind why I picked those items up and how they did on the platform. I think everyone gets used to always mentioning the same brands on different platforms, so I like to mix it up a little bit and share a different perspective on sourcing when it comes to any platform really, but specifically today for the Real. If you don't know what the Real is, it is an online consignment store. They also have retail brick and mortar locations in various parts across the state. Yeah, I've been consigning with them for probably about 2 years now. I am I'm not VIP yet. I'm almost VIP. I'm that level beneath VIP. I'm at the 60% tier mark. So the Real has different tiers that you eventually get to go into. So everyone starts off at the 40% commission rate, and then the more you sell, the higher commission rate goes. I do plan on doing some type of series on here about the Real, just kind of giving a really detailed breakdown as to how to sign up, what the process should be about it. So it is something that I am working on, but right now this is just kind of an overview of the sales. All right, so let's talk about the total amount of sales that I made, my net profit, and the total items sold. So my total sales for January 2021, and if I'm looking down, I have a notebook right here, is $1,236. It's a pretty good month. Last month I had 576, I think was my total sales. This month it's 1,236. So definitely a lot more. I also sent them a ton. I was sending a box basically every day, just clearing out my own inventory here that I have in my apartment, and then also just sourcing specifically for the Real and coming away with a lot of stuff. I think a lot of it was because people were cleaning out their closets in December and January, so I just found an abundance of things. My February sales are definitely not looking the same as January, but that's okay. So my net profit from that, so take away all the fees, take away the Real fees, take away my cost of goods, travel, time, all of those things, as I do budget that into my net profit, is $1,038. So that's really good. That's really good. I was really happy with that. And my total items sold was 29. So really great month. Definitely want to point out that this does not happen every month if you're a low volume seller like me. If you're a high volume seller, let's say you get liquidation or anything like that, then your total sales probably look a lot different than mine. But your net profit might be the same, or it might be different. I don't know. But theoretically, if you're a volume seller and you're getting pallets of things, your total sales is going to be a lot higher. I'm just going to thrift stores and finding stuff. So I'm happy with that. 29 items that are sold. So the way I'm going to do today's discussion is I'm going to open up with one surprising sale, and then I'm going to go into about 5, 6, or 7 around there sales that were my top selling. They kind of surprised me a little bit too, but they were my top sales that I had. Also keep in mind, just because they were my top sales does not mean that my total profit that I received at the end was super high. So some of them are like $20, but we'll go into that as we go on. All right, so my number one surprising sale. So I found this jacket. I'm gonna give you a little backstory, and I'll insert images in here so you guys can see the items. So This one item, I showed it in, I believe, my video. I'll link it up here where I talked about items that I was packing up to send to the RealReal. And it was a Sherry Bodell leather jacket. It had embroidery. They were like wings and all these different white embroidered designs on it, and it was really funky, and I loved it, and I picked it up, not really understanding much about the brand. I didn't really know the brand, and I really just picked it up on a hunch. It was leather, and I saw a few that sold on Tradesy for $100. So I said, why not? I had this lamb leather jacket listed for probably a month, and then I realized I just didn't have the market for it. So I was just going to try to send it into the RealReal and just kind of see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen when I send things in. Sometimes I'm completely shocked and I'm happy, and sometimes I'm extremely disappointed, and that's just the way it goes. But I don't have to store the item. I don't have to photograph it. I don't have to do anything. They take care of it all. I like that. So I sent it into the RealReal. They accepted it. I didn't know they accepted the brand, but they did. So it's Sherry Bodell, and it was a lamb leather biker jacket. I think it being leather definitely helped. I think that it is a designer brand, maybe not as well known, but there is a little bit of a following for it. I think it's different. They put it on their site. That's my logic behind it. So the item sold for $100 with a 20% off coupon. So the RealReal does give their customers 20%. Some brands are exempt from the 20%, but you will see as I go through my list that some higher end brands are on the list now of accepted that accept the 20% off coupon. So anyway, sold for $120% off coupon. I made $60 with 60% commission in that. So that was surprising to me that they gave me 60% commission, but they did. I still don't understand how they pick and choose what gets 40%, what gets 60% commission. I'm on like the hunt to understand it better, because some items that I think I should be getting 60%, I get 20%. It's just very confusing to me. So I don't have an answer as to why their commission rate fluctuates depending on brand. Well, I have a theory as to why it does, but for this specific one piece, I got 60% commission, so I made $60. If you subtract my cost of goods for that, I made $54. So that was great. And it sold in less than 24 hours, which I think is the most important thing for me. When I am sending things into the RealReal, I want to send them things that I know is going to flip in like 2 weeks time at most, and the RealReal is pretty good about that, and they do say that in their statements that they try really hard to make sure your items are selling within 2 weeks time, and then if it doesn't, it gets marked down. Like there's a markdown process with it. But to see a brand that isn't that well known in the reselling world that I tried and I wasn't too confident in it, sent it in, was accepted, and it sold in 24 hours. I think that's great. So that definitely surprised me in January, but I was very happy to see that. I'll definitely pick up the brand again and give it another try. The quality of leather was just phenomenal. Yeah, worth it. Totally worth it. Okay, so let's go into my top sales that I want to discuss with you guys. And you're going to see that one brand come up quite a bit that is not on their designer list. As of right now, as of today, January 13th, it is not on their designer list. But that doesn't mean you can't send it in, okay? I'm not telling you to go against their designer list. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that if you have certain items and you want to see if they'll accept it, throw it in the box and see what happens. That's all I'm going to say. So the first item we're going to talk about is a Giorgio Armani Houndstooth Peacoat. This coat was beautiful. I found this on my big thrift trip that I had in December. I found so many luxury and designer pieces. This was one of them. It sold for $168 with 20% off. I made $100.80 and I got 60% commission on that. When you subtract my cost of goods, my total net profit was $88.80. So happy about that. I don't have any luck selling Armani on my own. I've tried sending it into ThreadUp and had no luck. This was kind of like my last resort, was to send it in to the RealReal and see if they took it and what would happen. And they took it. This is like probably the fourth time they've taken, like my fourth big box that I've sent that they've taken Armani from me. There have been times where they haven't taken it. But this specific box, which is where most of these items that are on my list came from, they took all the pieces. So my hypothesis on that. I think if you're creating a box that has really great brands in it that they accept, and you're piping in some of these other brands that may not necessarily be on their list, but they do sell them from time to time, I think that's where they tend to accept most of these brands that are not on their designer list. At least that's what my experience has been. If you've had a different experience, definitely let me know down below and let's have a conversation about it, because it's interesting. It's more fascinating than anything that some of the brands they take, I'm like, really? You take that? And then you throw in a brand that's not on their designer list, but it's extremely desirable and people want it, and they don't take it. So there's a lot that goes into it, but that's just my hypothesis on it. I think if you're creating a box and most of the items in that box are on their designer list, more likely than not, they're going to look at your stuff and say, all right, I mean, this is a good piece. We've sold other items like this before in the past. You know, let's see how it goes. Because a lot of their stuff is based off of data and how things perform on their platform. Everything has a reason for the real, including their pricing structure and their markdown structure. So anyway, I digress. Okay, the next piece that I sold was an Emporio Armani virgin wool coat that sold for $188 with 20% off. I made $112.80, also 60% commission on that. And then when you subtract cost of goods and all of that fun stuff, my profit was $180. Again, really great sale. Really, really great. Both of these pieces were purchased on the same day and sent in. So, you know, coats in general do really well on the Real. I always love fall and winter season here in New England because I can find so many great coats and I can send them in to the Real. I think that the reason why a lot of the times my November, December, January, and February numbers are so large on the Real is because I'm sending them coats predominantly. That's the predominant thing that I'm sending, and they just do really well on that platform. I don't have a lot of luck selling them myself. It's just not one of the categories that sells well for me, so I don't want to do the work if it's not going to sell for me. I know it sounds so lazy, but it's not. It's just a business decision that I'm making, that if I have to put a ton of effort into something and it's going to sit for months for me, I'm not doing it, and I'm not going to do it anymore. I haven't done it in months. I'm packing it up and I'm sending it. I want to really streamline my processes, especially when it comes to the Real this year. I want it to be just a really smooth, like, get items, put in a box, send it off literally in the same day. I have boxes in my car. I've got everything in my car ready to go. UPS is literally down the road. That's just kind of like the way I'm approaching it, almost like an Amazon, I guess, when you think about it. Kind of along those lines. Almost like a fulfillment. Like, I am fulfilling for the Real. But yeah, two really great sales. Both were coats. Definitely not a coincidence. Time of year. People are looking for coats. People like quality coats. People will spend more on a good quote, on a good coat. I almost said quote. A good quote. All right. Let's move on to the next sale, shall we? This pair of boots I almost didn't grab because I don't necessarily like this brand, this diffusion brand, I should say. So it is Dolce & Gabbana suede boots, but it's not Dolce & Gabbana, it's D&G suede boots. D&G is their lower, like, diffusion line. It's what was really big in the early 2000s. Like, D&G was what everyone had. They had D&G t-shirts, and I had D&G sunglasses. Like, that was what people wanted. You don't get that much money for it on the Real, but that's okay. I picked them up because the cost of goods at that moment was $8. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to try to list these myself. I don't think I'm going to have a ton of luck. I don't want to store any more boots either, so I'm just going to send them in and see what happens. Worst case scenario, I'll double my money and I'll be okay with that. So that's what I did. I sent them in. I didn't think they were going to accept them at first because they're a little beat up, and I used a suede brush and cleaned them a little bit, but they were still just a smidge too beat up, and you just never know who's going to open your box, and you're just not sure if they're going to take it or not, but they took it. And they listed them really quickly, probably because we're nearing the end of boot season, high knee boot season, I should say, although there are no rules. I feel like people wear boots year round, but theoretically, we're approaching the end of boot season. So these boots sold for $92 with 20% off, which was astounding. I did not anticipate those boots selling for $92, but they did. I made $36.80 with 40% off. And my net profit for that was $28.80. Listen, I'm happy with it. I am totally happy with that. I know it's not a huge amount. Could I have made a little bit more if I would have sold them myself? Yeah, probably. But it just wasn't worth it to me. I don't want to house the boots here. I don't want to sell them. It doesn't excite me. I don't want it. I will have someone else take care of it for me. So yeah, I made $28 and I did nothing but purchase the boots and put them in a box and then drop them off at UPS down the road. I love that. I love that motto, and I can't wait to grow on that even more this year. So great sale. Do I recommend people picking up D&G? I think it depends on the piece. I think if it's a coat, if it's a sweater, if it's a shoe or a handbag, then I say yes, but please be careful because there are a lot of fakes, dupes, impersonators out there of D&G. So just be mindful when you're looking at that stuff. But if the cost of goods is right, I say send it in and see what happens. You don't like the price? You recall the item. It's very simple. Okay, this next brand, again, I don't think people realize that The RealReal takes this, and it's because there are two areas of this brand. So you have the brand that I have here, which is Donna Karan, but it is, the label is different, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it says on it. Donna Karan Collection, maybe? I don't know, but it's a black label, and the interior tag has US sizing, French sizing, Australian sizing, so it has the European sizing on that. That's the version of Donna Karan that The RealReal takes. The other version of Donna Karan would be like DKNY, you know, like more of the mall brand area of it. So you definitely want to look for Donna Karan that has the European sizing in it. So this was a cashmere sweater. I picked it up at a Savers on 50% off. I was really excited because I had sold a Donna Karan piece last month as well on The RealReal, and it sold very quickly for a high dollar amount. So I was really excited to send them a cashmere piece and see how that did on there. So the item sold for $92, and they also used 20% off. So as you can see, everything so far has had a 20% off coupon, which leads me to believe the list of brands that don't accept 20% off has shrunk even more. And then, you know, I don't know what that means, but it's a way to entice a buyer to purchase on their website. So can't be mad at that, right? Anyway, so sold for $92 with 20% off. I made $36.80, which was 40% commission. And then my net profit on that was $31.80. Pretty good. My cost of goods was $5, so pretty darn good. Very happy about that. I've tried to sell this Donna Karan line myself, and I have had zero luck, just a bunch of lowball offers. And I know that this line in particular is valued a lot more, so it's great that The RealReal takes it. I don't really have to worry about much. And I made $31. Pretty awesome. All right, the next piece is a Giorgio Armani blazer. This blazer was pretty. It had like a crisscross detailing on the back. It almost reminded me of a corset. Also picked up on the same day as the other Giorgio Armani pieces. It sold for $84 with 20% off. I made $33.60 with 40% commission, and my net profit on that was $21.60. Not a huge turnaround in terms of profit there, but I'm happy with $21.60. That's gas money. Totally happy with that. I will say that the blazers in general typically do not bring you as much money as the coats or suit sets will. So just the blazer, you're looking at that anywhere from $50 to $200 mark, depending on the brand. Now, of course, if you're sending them a Chanel blazer, it might be a little different. Giorgio Armani definitely isn't valued the same as Chanel, but $20 profit, not going to complain about that. It probably would have sat forever if I had listed it for myself. So really good, really great return. Definitely going to send them more of that. Definitely. The next item here, I'm calling it my bonus sale because I didn't think this was going to sell on the Real. I couldn't move it and I didn't think it was going to sell. And the reason is it was a vintage, older style shoe. It was a really pointed toe heel, like very vintage. And I know there's a market for everything, but they just weren't very desirable. They were Fendi. I was excited to find them. I think what happened was I was so excited to find all these designer pieces when I went on that trip that I just didn't really look at styles or trends or anything like that. I was like, great, all the amazing brands come home with me kind of thing. And that's probably not the best method when doing this kind of stuff. It happens. We all get excited, right? And these are just the things that happen as a reseller. So I had them listed. They're Fendi leather pumps. Like I said, not desirable, pointed toe, not really cute. I think I had them listed for like 100 and I wasn't getting anything. No bites, nothing. No one wanted them. No one cared. So I sent them in last month along with some other shoes, some Chanel shoes and whatnot that were more on the vintage side that I was just finding I wasn't moving. And they sold immediately on the Real, like less than 10 hours. Sold for $76 with a 20% off coupon. I made $30.40, which was 40% commission, and I made $18.40 net profit. I will say that my cost of goods was a little higher on this, so I only profited $7 from this item. But it was a lesson learned for me, and I still made money, so I'm not mad, and I made my money back. But moral of the story is just really pay attention to what it is you're picking up and don't be blinded by the label because sometimes labels just don't matter. And it's really just the style and what people are looking for right then and there. So definitely keep that in mind. And don't be like me. So the last piece that I want to throw out there to you guys is a brand that I think a lot of us get really excited for when we first start reselling, and then we realize that it maybe doesn't move as well as we thought it would. It retails for a lot of money. Yeah, and I think people get discouraged and don't want to sell it anymore. And that brand is St. John. And my theory on St. John is if it's an evening wear jacket, an evening wear dress, something that people will wear out to a party or a cocktail hour or New Year's Eve or a wedding or something like that, those are the pieces that you really want to focus on, whether you're sending it into the Real or you're going to be selling it yourself. In my experience, those are the pieces that do the best. All of my St. John pieces that I have sold myself have been an evening wear set, some type of blazer with rhinestones or stuff, or embellishments on there. Those are the things that do really well. I'm not saying that your return is going to be amazing. I mean, I was lucky and sold both of those pieces for over $100, but that's not necessarily going to be the case every time. I tend to stay away from the St. John trousers and jeans and even the shoes and handbags. They just don't do well for me. So I focus on the things that do well for me. And in my experience, it's evening wear jackets, evening wear in general. So I had picked up a St. John's blazer and it had all rhinestones. I think it had been in a haul that I had. I don't remember. I may have showed you guys this before, but it was blue and it had all these gemstones all up on top and all on the sleeve. It was beautiful. I believe it was on the hem too. Really, really beautiful piece. I loved it, and I found it at Salvation Army. and I think it was like $3, and it was half off. So it cost me nothing. And I was really, really happy about that. So I originally had listed it myself because I was like, well, Christmas time's coming, New Year's Eve. Okay, maybe people will want to dress up for their Zooms, or maybe they're having small little family, like intimate family get-togethers, and they want to dress up a little bit. So I did have it listed, and it did have interest on it. But when I was creating this box to send in January, I decided to pull it out of my inventory and just send it into the Real because I felt like I had a better chance of selling it faster and maybe making a little bit more money on it. So I did send it in. The great thing about the Real is they'll date some of your vintage pieces. So they considered this St. John's piece vintage, even though it's 2014, which I think was an error on their end. But they dated it 2014, which was nice to know. They've dated a few of my other pieces before they're vintage too. And they're like time period dates, so it might be like 1950s. Like they're never too specific, but this one in particular was specific, so maybe it was part of a collection. I don't know. But it was a 2014 evening wear jacket. They had it listed, I think originally at $250. It ended up getting marked down, and I was watching it because once it reaches a certain point, I end up pulling it because I want to make sure that I'm making something on the piece. So it got marked down. Someone used a 20% off coupon. They bought the piece for $60. I was still okay with that. My return would have been fine. My my profit on that was $24. I only received 40% on that. My cost of goods was basically pennies, so I made the full $24 on that. So that was great. And I know you're probably thinking, but you only made $24. You probably could have made 100 or 80 or 60 on your own. You're right. I could have. I didn't want to. And that's basically what it comes down to. I don't want to store certain things anymore. I want to build my real business. I want to get to that next tier. I want to get to the VIP 70% commission tier. I want to make the real a bigger priority in my business in 2021 and moving forward. And I'm definitely moving in that direction. So I am experimenting with things, and I'm trying different brands, and I'm seeing what works there and what type of returns I'm getting on certain items. And I'm really watching their trend reports. I'm watching what's on the just in. Like, I'm really diving deep, and I'm really trying to understand the platform. So I'm really excited, a lot of reallys there, to bring all that to you guys as well, and just share the things that I'm finding in my experiences. And I know a lot of you have reached out to me personally, and you've been excited to try it, or you just sent in your first box and you're really excited to see, the progress that you make there. So I'm excited that you guys are excited. I hope that these videos are helpful so you see what's working for me and the experiences that I'm having with certain brands. And if you ever have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me. You can always DM me on Instagram. All my information is down below. My email is down below as well. I am always available to chat about anything and everything when it comes to fashion and reselling. But yeah, that's it for this video. Those are my January 2021 sales on the Real. We made a net profit of $1,038. We're happy about that here. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.